Hi folks, and welcome back to the plot where I feel like I'm up against the clock. There's a little rhyme for you to start things off. No, so today is Friday, right? And by the end of this weekend, I really want to have the shed completely and utterly finished. This is what we were looking at last video. If you missed that one, I've been doing all sorts inside in terms of shelving, but also trying to build this sort of lean-to extension overhang type thing for a little bit of extra dry storage. And today, I've got everything now, so there's no excuses. Before, when I was doing it, I was waiting for lots of stuff to arrive, but I have here the roofing sheet. So this is some like bitumen kind of sheets, exactly like, can you see that? That person's got them on their shed. They look pretty good. You can see they've bunged a load of stuff on top of it. But basically the plan today, get all of this properly supported. I want to put another little corner brace in there to support that overhang, and we'll get this roof on, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. And then after that, this is sort of all the stuff I want to do this weekend. Inside, I've made great progress on the shelves. You can see these have been left for a few days, quite a lot of weight on them, and they're all completely fine. I did have to redo these, actually. It's really fun. I feel like the overwhelming vibe from the comments last week was, oh, JB, your DIY skills are improving. You're not actually as hopeless as you used to be. And I tell you why. It's because I didn't film most of it. When I don't film what I'm doing, it looks easy because I just go around afterwards like, hey, look at all this stuff I did. It was completely fine. That's not how it actually goes. So, I get there eventually, but there's a bit of effing and blinding along the way, and this is a mistake I made. And it's one of those things where I put them up and I thought, yeah, that's great. And then I noticed, basically, it was just down here. And this is such a minor thing, right? But where this was before, this little corner brace was smack, it kind of started here. And it was smack bang in this corner. And I just knew for the rest of time, I'd be fighting to get stuff out of that corner. And because bloody bar would always be in the way. And I thought, I kind of stepped back and looked at it and I went, look, this is my one chance. Either I do it now or it's going to stay like that forever. So I did it. I actually did it. I unscrewed everything and just raised it up about 20 centimeters. And it means there's a little bit more storage along the bottom now as well, but I do still want to get another shelf up here and some kind of storage for the roof for really long bits. But yes, fairly proud of myself. I did go out and finally bought an impact driver. I've got some new drills because the one I've used has just been shocking. It's like this old thing from Argos that I got many years ago, and it just doesn't really cut the mustard anymore. And it makes the world of difference. When I put the actual shed together, I borrowed an impact driver from a mate on the plot, and it just makes life so much easier. So before I get started, there is some other stuff I wanted to just quickly mention. The first is the hot bin. So I mentioned after taking all of this out that I wasn't going to be filling it up again, and I wanted to wait a little while and see what was happening inside, because I had a sneaking suspicion that there was water getting in. I've come up a few times and checked when it's raining, and sure enough there has been a small puddle at the bottom, so that is really not conducive to a good hot bin environment. And basically I need to cover it or put it in a sheltered area, so I'm not going to start filling it up just yet. Loud pigeon, sorry. And yeah, I think it might just be where it's not fully level, but that's a job for another day. But I did just want to mention that because I've had a few questions about the hot compost. And the other thing, a super quick seedling update. There is not much coming up, to be honest. Most of the places I look, a lot of bare seed trays. This is my marigolds, this is my onions. We've got a single onion yet? No? They look a little dry. Ah, that one. Okay. So this is a minor issue I have at the moment, where some of the trays, the bottom trays, aren't quite compatible with these. So there's loads of water under there. Not sure if you can see that, but this is floating. So it's not actually getting any of that water, which is a shame. No peas yet, no leeks. We do have some movement on the brassicas. Just some tiny little ones. It's probably been far too hot in here for those, to be honest, which is not ideal. We've had an unseasonably warm spell. Got a little bit of movement on the sunflowers. One or two straw flowers just popping up, and some meadows cranebill as well, which is nice. And the most successful seed tray at the moment is this, the calendula, and a little bit of cosmos as well. So the reason I said that the race is on and why I'm up against the clock, there's a lot of sowing I want to get done, and I'm trying to be pretty relaxed about it, pretty chill, but I do want to get a little bit of a move on this weekend. hopefully finish everything with the shed. There's something else that has arrived for the shed that I meant to mention. In here are all the little gutter bits and the clips. They're quite chunky, quite substantial, those ones, but yeah, guttering up on here is the other job. Got my potatoes ready. They've not been in the light, so they've not chitted too well, but the growths aren't too long. When they've been in the dark, they can get super creepy and super long, and you've got to knock them all off and start again, but that's not too bad, so they'll just be in the light for now. They are our updates. I'm going to get started on the roof. I did have lots of helpful comments. Thank you so much. There were a few people who said they had used this kind of corrugated bitumen stuff, and it is saggy. It's very, very saggy if it's not supported, so I do need to get some boarding and some extra supports in here. And that's how I'm going to start the day. Wish me luck.
Now, I made one of the cleverest decisions I've ever made, which was leaving myself a template piece of wood. So I didn't screw them all in. I left one in the greenhouse, and just in case I needed to cut any more supports, because the two angles are quite tricky. So this one wasn't too bad, but then I had to cut the extra support, and I went through a nail. There was a hidden nail in there, but thankfully the circular saw seemed pretty unscathed. This was a real tricky one. This one, I was just trying to get that hanging piece to come up a little bit, and it really didn't want to. Looked easier on the video than it actually was, but that was a real pig. I dropped all the tools multiple times, and I didn't enjoy it, but it looks so much better now we got that support on. This little fox interlude, I kept getting distracted by these two guys. They were playing around and running all over the place, making lots of noise. And then I thought, let's get these roofing sheets out, see what we think about them. And unfortunately, the fixings weren't with it. So I got really annoyed, made myself a cup of tea, and started work on the plyboard. Now, there's a real blink and you'll miss it moment here, but I had to jump up to get this plyboard back down. And as I did, I nearly got clobbered on the head because one of the supports fell out. Turns out I just completely forgotten to screw that one in. So that was a nice easy fix. And this plyboard is really rough. There are gaps, but this is just to support the roofing that's going to go on afterwards. So I needed to make that clear.
Okay, right, that was a bit of a mission. Bit of a mixed bag, but I am very, very happy. The plywood I have is pretty crap. It's kind of what used to be on the outside of the shed. It's just started raining. This will be a good test to see where the rain is coming from. It's definitely in that direction. I had a lot of people saying, JV, I don't think that's actually going to stop any rain. I've got a good feeling. I think it is. I think it's going to be well worth it in the long run. Now, the ply, like I say, didn't span the full gap. So there's a gap along the kind of front. There's like a strip along the front. And I'm hoping that it will be fine. But I'm not sure. It's going to be a case of getting the roofing on, leaving it for a little while. Let's go in the shed. It's properly raining. And then if it does need a little bit of fixing, I think it'll be okay. I think I'll be able to just screw a few lengths into that fence post on the inside, and that should give the roofing felt a little bit more support. The really frustrating thing is the fixings that I ordered for the roof didn't come. Just wasn't in the order. Apparently I was kind of expecting them to just be in the big orange thing. You can see that down here. Fits just perfect under this newly raised shelf, which is good. I've definitely got enough. It looks pretty good. It's quite sturdy. I can't remember the brand. I'll put it on screen if you're interested. But yeah, the fact that the fixings didn't come, really, really annoying. And it has slowed me down a bit today. One of the things I wanted to mention that I've loved about doing these like final bits on the shed is that it's obviously DIY, but there's something about it, especially when you're using scrap wood, that you know, I get a lot of comments and suggestions sort of saying, oh, JB, I would do it this way if I was you. And there's lots of people saying lots of different things. And that is precisely what I love. It's sort of like the way that I'm doing it now is how I want to do it. It's like a puzzle that I am figuring out the way to solve, you know, and everyone would do it their own little way. And when you're doing stuff like this, that's your own stuff, you're using random lengths of scrap wood, you've got to adapt to whatever you've got. It feels like proper DIY, you know, it feels like this is how I would do it and probably no one else would. So it feels like I'm really putting a personal mark on this shed, which is kind of what I always wanted, you know. It's one of the things I was a little bit nervous about with the prefab and the pre-build kind of thing. It's not quite as personal as something DIY, but this is like the best of both worlds, and I absolutely am really, really enjoying this. The next thing I think I'm going to do is get the gutter on, which should, in theory, once again, be pretty simple, but I'm not too sure. It has started raining properly, so I'm not going to be able to film it, but wish me luck again. I mean, that one went pretty well. Apart from the missing fixings, I was really happy. I didn't make too many mistakes. I think there was one or two. I can't remember what they were now. They've gone out of my memory already. So let's get this gutter on. So it's been quite a while. Oh, one of those jobs that makes you want to tear your hair out. I'm using 2 pieces of gutter, and one is quite nice. It's like the one that I've used to do my peas in for many years, one that I inherited from the plot, and the other one is something that I picked up from a neighbour. He just had lying around, but it's been stored like crammed in the side of a pallet, and it's all like twisted and warped out of shape. Oh my days, it's been so frustrating. It just does not want to, I've got the brackets all nice and level, you know, get a string out, nice, lean on it, but then it just bucks up in the middle where you join them together. The twist just bucks it up, and so I've had to like try and join the twist into the, I'll try and show you in a bit, but it is absolutely chucking it down. One thing, good news, I was more or less correct about the prevailing rain direction, and even just stood under here with the massive gap in the ply. Underneath the ply is perfectly dry. You can see more or less the dry slabs there and the wet area there. So I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously there will still be times where the wind is picking up and it might blow in this direction, but the idea is for that roof is just to keep the worst off, you know, keep it relatively sheltered. So I think while it's chucking it down, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I need to take a minute, take a breath. I might call the suppliers of that roofing, get them to send the thing, but one of those jobs, not that easy, not that easy. Instead of trying to wrestle with the gutter in the rain, I kind of gave up and thought, spend some time in the shed, make a bit more progress, feel better. I do feel better, let me tell you. I had a good little, well, not a good tidy, but a little tidy in here because it was starting to get extremely unruly. And I've put up another shelf. This one much simpler in design than the last ones I did. The last ones I had to do lots of kind of cutting out. This is not my effort, this is from the old shed, but cutting out for the frame, the uprights of the frame. I haven't done that on this one. Look, there's a gap. Hello, a real cheap and dirty one. I just got a couple of pieces of wood, cut them to size. I did put a nice little angle on, which just makes a little difference. Less likely to like catch your knuckles on there or your eye or something, I don't know. And then just 2 screws into the upright there, and it's pretty sturdy, it's not going anywhere. And then right at the back I did a proper cheat and just did 1 diagonal screw just to support this because it was flexing a little bit. So this one won't take as much weight, it's not as elegant, but it's more storage, it's perfect. And I quite like when you have a lower shelf that comes out farther and then an upper shelf that's a little more shallow, so you can sort of access stuff a bit more easily. There is, unfortunately, an issue with the gutter, and where I've got to get that join in, basically the only way I can do it is basically screwing into the single skin tongue and groove. I've been very careful where I can to make sure any time that I screw from the outside, I'm going into the supports, but this is where the piece needs to go. I don't really want to create a load of holes. Well, I kind of have to, unfortunately, but quick fix. I've just cut a piece to size and I'm just going to pop this in here. Oh, it needs like another millimeter off, and I'll pop that in, screw that in the side, and then basically there will still be a hole outside, but it's just a bit better. And it means this will be taking the weight of the gutter and not just this single piece of tongue and groove. Okay, so hello and welcome to one of my least favourite jobs in a long time. Now the first thing I need to do, I've gone along and I've put in all of these little pieces of barge board, because some of them, like this one, sits proud, and some of them, like on the corners, are recessed. So can you just see that in the corner there? I've had to put an extra one on there, so all of this is flush and it should run nicely. Now this is where I have to put a support in for the middle coupling. I was hoping I could just kind of leave the coupling floating, but it is not playing ball. So I need to pop one on here first so that we're all flush. This is what I don't like doing. I don't like drilling just straight through this tongue and groove boarding, which is why I've just put that extra support in the back. Can you even tell what I'm saying? Now I'm of course just using the drill, not the impact driver, because that would just obliterate this tiny little bit of barge board. Tricky because you want to get it nice and flush so the plastic can sit on it, but if you screw it in too much it might explode. Oh, this is a horrible job. It really is. This is also very long, so it's very awkward, and hopefully I showed you the picture of the twist earlier, which is a real issue. No. Okay, now I did try and get a clip on here, but I don't have the right size clips, so unfortunately this coupling, it does have a screw hole, and that's why I've just got to put a screw hole straight into this new support. I've got to go along and click all these in now. It's a real tough one on my fingers. Hopefully you can see just the amount of twisting that is going on here. I think if I twist this in and click it in, then I will be able to put a screw in here. Come down, please. I'm begging you. I bet there's a simple way to do this. You might be screaming in the comments, JP Wade. Oh, water going up my sleeve. No. Yeah, if you're screaming, JB, why are you doing it this way? Just know, I feel the same way about myself. Not impressed. Oh, come on. I got this once and then I had to undo it again. You know? Can you imagine how frustrating that was? There it is. Push it up with the right, down with the left, and then go on. No. Oh, for God's sake. Oh. Okay, so can you see? You might not be able to see, but the twist is absolutely crazy. And for some reason, this, where the join is, just comes up. It just sits so high. If it was down here, it will be fine. And it's not that I've put the clips in at the wrong gradient or anything like that. That's the word, isn't it? But it's just like, I can't quite get this on. It requires so much twisting and force. And I know gutter clips are quite stubborn and they can be tricky. I've done bits and bobs before at home. I've never quite experienced anything like this. I can't even get this outside clip on by itself.
Now, I didn't really explain this very well, but basically I decided to change tack, and instead of trying to get the back in first and then the front, I thought, okay, let's switch it. Let's try and get the front in first, and it's just quite funny watching me struggle, so I thought you should see it.
Okay, right. Now, is it going to be able to get in at the back now, easily? Oh. This is... Oh my goodness. It's been an embarrassingly long time. I'm still going. If I get this clicked in and then I screw this in and it doesn't flow in the right direction, don't care. I'm just leaving it as it is. After this, I'm never touching this again. I wonder if I want to get a screwdriver or something in, maybe, for a bit of leverage, but I used some pliers earlier on an old piece and completely snapped it. So I'm one bracket down already. It's like, so close. Come on. Yes. Oh, I've gone lightheaded. Oh, I was really worried I wouldn't catch the moment I actually got it on film. Oh, what a relief. Okay. Oh, good Lord. This one, for whatever reason, has not given me any trouble. He says. There we go. That's so much easier. Now we just got to try and get that middle piece down a little bit. Easier said than done, I fear. Very, very difficult working in here. Ideally, I think you put all the brackets on first and then just clip the gutter in, but when nothing has been cooperating. Oh no. Oh, the place where I need to put the screw is like on top of the existing screw that I just used. Oh, why does this happen? If I raise it up a little bit, I don't know if the angle's going to be right. Oh my goodness. Let me get the spirit level. Come on. There we go. Okay, it's not great, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it any better. Can I get it better? There we go. Oh, sod it, that'll do. I'm going to get a watering can and we're going to find out what happens. I can't bear the suspense. Okay, moment of truth. You all know how gutters work. You all know what's meant to happen. Let's see. It's looking good. I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be a big wet puddle in the middle of the gutter. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look great. It may be the smallest puddle. The problem with there being a puddle is that that bit of the gutter will continue to sag over time, and then the puddle will get worse and the sagging will get worse. I think it's okay. That'll do, won't it? That'll do. My original plan had been to use this end piece that I kind of found lying around and thought it looked pretty good. But basically, the bad news is this piece doesn't actually fit this gutter, or it does, but it's missing the two little end clips that kind of pop on here and hold whatever you put in here in place. And I thought, okay, well that's fine. You can't really buy these clips on their own, but I just got an extra end piece and they come with some clips that I could just reuse, but different size. Doesn't fit, does it? Doesn't fit. So this basically useless, probably. I spent like so long the other day just looking for these clips. I was like, they must be somewhere, they must be somewhere. But alas, it was nowhere to be found. So that's a bit annoying. Now, you'll never guess what. It's about 5 minutes later, and look at that. I've only fixed it. Now, you can call me Bodger. I'm so happy with this. Basically, I just cut a few bits of plastic off here, and it's allowed the clip to actually fit on. It's not as snug, it's not as tight as it should be, but it's holding the weight of this. Obviously, this needs finishing, but this is a good sign. It means the clip does work. It's not the most secure. It's definitely not as secure as it should be, but it's better than nothing. And I think I can use this downpipe connection, which is the main thing because I'm very tight. And this was about £5 to buy new. So saved myself £5. Was it worth the stress? Maybe not, but I'm feeling better. Okay, I'm feeling more positive. So one last job for the day. I just went and had a catch up with Elmo, who's got some free pallet wood going. They had a delivery to the allotments the other day. 3 greenhouses turned up. So there's lots of packaging and that kind of stuff. Most of it's spoken for, but I got a few bits which might be, I don't know, another shelf or something. Sometimes you just see a bit of wood and you think, that's too good to burn. But he is having a bonfire and I've got all those prunings. So I'm gonna load those into a wheelbarrow and go drop those off. People are always asking for bonfire stuff on the allotments, and generally I'm like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I'll be burning it myself because I want my bonfire, but I don't have much to burn at the moment. So just looking at this water butt here and thinking, I've spent a lot of time recently on Facebook Marketplace looking mainly for slabs. I'm still looking for slabs. But one thing I haven't seen is many water butts either, because I'm also in the market for water butts at the moment, because the kind of plan for that area with the shed is that I wanted to get 3 or 4 basically in the back there and link them all together, you know, plumb them in. So you've got one kind of water storage area. It should be a fantastic resource. I think I'm going to get an awful lot of water off that shed, but I'm not spending £40 on a water butt when I know they are quite often up for grabs. Unfortunately, this one has a massive, great big hole in it, probably beyond repairing, to be honest. So I'll use this for storing something else. Is it beyond repairing? Maybe I could repair it, but yeah, one for the future. I forgot to chop this one up, apparently. I wonder if Elmo will mind doing it. I don't know if this is going to make it. Elmo's going to be like, what the hell am I meant to do with this? He rejected it. Quite reasonably, he said, if you want me to burn this, JB, you can bloody well cut it up. And I did as well find this, well, I say find it, remembered this pile of wood, which I don't know, I should probably give to him to burn as well. I don't know if I ever had a plan for this. I don't think I did. I think it was just like a second rotten wood pile, really, so I'll give him that as well. Right, you folks probably don't need to see this, do you? That is pretty much the end of the day. I've got an awful lot done on the shed. I'm really, really pleased with the direction that is all moving in, apart from the gutter, of course, which was a bit of a travesty. But thank you ever so much for joining me. Hopefully, I'll see you again next time. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper Tier patrons, Tony, Bill, Pam, Mel, Michael, Socks, Dorcas or Louise, Andre, Brett, Tom, and Amber? Is that right? Oh no. Quick sprint through the phone confirms Amber is correct. I really struggle with names beginning with A. Thank you so much, folks. See you in the next one.